It was at this moment I knew I messed up. Today we're playing Sniper Elite's Invasion mode in both Sniper Elite 5 and the recently released Sniper Elite Resistance. If you haven't played the Invasion mode, I highly suggest you check it out. Essentially, the way that it works is that you go ahead and invade someone's single player game. While they go around and try and complete objectives, you're trying to take them out with a sniper rifle or otherwise. There are a series of NPCs if you're playing as a Nazi, and they will keep a lookout to see whether or not Carl or Harry, depending on which version of the game you're playing, are out and about in an attempt to try and track them down. It's a combination of hide and seek and cat and mouse, and it is highly, highly addictive and rewarding. Last year, I did my best to try and complete 100 kills in Sniper Elite 5. Right now, you're experiencing my final few kills as I attempt to get the coveted ghillie suit, acquired only after defeating 100 players. It was quite tricky towards the end of Sniper Elite 5 to be able to get a game, but as part of today's tips, I'll be explaining to you exactly how I've managed to find more games and finally complete this milestone. As you can see now, I've completed my 100th kill in Sniper Elite 5, and I'm ready to move on to Sniper Elite Resistance. But before we leave Sniper Elite 5 forever, I want to share with you tip number 1, and that is to play the single player campaign. See, the single player campaign will help you discover where the objectives are so you can better pinpoint where Carl is going to end up. And in the case of the footage that you're looking at right now, I knew that there were only going to be 2 ways down. The long way, which is the way that he came up, or down via this zip line. It was really just a case of me waiting at the bottom for him and securing the kill. Tip number 2 is that you don't need to use sniper rifles. Despite the fact that the game is called Sniper Elite, it doesn't stop you from using an SMG. In fact, an SMG is a great way to be able to secure kills. In the footage that you're looking at right now, my very first game in Sniper Elite Resistance, I ended up going up against 2 people. That's quite tricky to do, and so you have to be on your toes and move as quickly as possible so they don't end up flanking you. Using a combination of grenades and mines as well is incredibly handy. This was a really nice opening game for Sniper Elite Resistance for me and definitely boosted my confidence. There are a lot of newer players out there as well, and so as a result, you'll usually find that most people aren't aware that invasion mode is turned on by default. When you're requesting something like a rematch, you'll usually find most people will quit. Don't hold it against them. They just probably don't want to be invaded anymore. Now, all because you've hit them with a sniper doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to kill them. Sometimes you'll end up incapacitating them only. So try and go for those kill shots only when you're confident. Otherwise, if they do fall over, they have a chance to heal themselves, so you really have to make that second shot count. Now this is probably one of the most interesting tips I can share with you. If you're still playing Sniper Elite 5 and you're really struggling to be able to find games, for example, I'm in Australia, changing region will help. When I was trying to get my final 50 kills in Sniper Elite 5, well after it had released, I just wasn't getting many games in the Asia Pacific region. Sometimes I moved over to the US and it was okay. But the one place that I always found games consistently, again and again, was the Middle East. Now, I'm not sure if Sniper Elite is just a really popular game in the Middle East, but what I do know is that you'll consistently get games. So if you are going back to Sniper Elite 5, I highly recommend changing your region to the Middle East. It doesn't really seem to impact your connection a whole lot. And if you are watching this video after Sniper Elite Resistance has been out for a while, you may find that the same tip will help you as well. My next tip for you is sound. Sound is an incredibly important part of the Sniper Elite franchise. And while the music is really cool, I often recommend that you turn it down to 0 so that you're not distracted. In the environment that I'm in right now, there's a lot going on. You can hear a lot of explosions from the generators, and it's going to be really hard to be able to hear footsteps. So turning down that music is a great way to do it, and turning up those headphones slightly will help you as well. And while you're in that options menu, I highly suggest you take a look at your brightness as well. While it will wash out the game a little bit, I find that the game is often quite dark. It really depends on what screen you're playing it on. Turning up that brightness a little beyond what it recommends will make sure that there's nobody skulking in those shadows, and if they are, you'll be able to see them. So now, with that optimal brightness and that music turned off, I still need to hear just a little bit more. If you take a look at the footage in front of you right now, you'll see that I'm turning up the sound because I can hear something. What you're seeing in the minimap in the bottom left-hand corner is a blue circle. There are multiple, and these are the NPCs in the game that are keeping a lookout for the ally threat. If that blue circle changes to yellow, it means that they are suspicious and have detected something. And this is really handy in being able to figure out where the enemy is. Following either a trail of bodies or the alerted NPCs will help you figure out exactly where you need to be. My final tip for you is that when it comes time to make that sniper shot, don't always do it out in the open. You may find that the opposition hasn't seen you yet. Take an opportunity to go behind cover, roughly line up your shot, and then peek out. You'll find that more often than not, you'll win those sniper engagements. And that's it. I hope these quick tips have helped you out today in making you a better Sniper Elite Invasion player. Please jump in and play Sniper Elite Resistance. It's a brilliant game, and playing it when you have lots of players on really makes a big difference. So get in there and start sniping. I'll see you guys in the next video.